known Isabel for, I would say, a year and a half now, through her private coaching and through her ADHD support groups through Chad. And she is a wonderful, caring, knowledgeable, great communicator. And I love going to meet with Isabel because I learn something new every time. Well, when my grandson was about 13, I realized that he might have ADHD, and then he was diagnosed with it. And I started to go to all the CHAD support group meetings, which Isabel was running. And my grandson was in crisis, and I was very concerned. So I thought that I would benefit by some additional one-on-one coaching, and that I perhaps could get my grandson's parents involved in some coaching to help them. And so that's why I sought out ADHD coaching with Isabel. My experience with Isabel was fantastic. She made me understand how I could help Ethan, how I could navigate bringing his divorced parents onto the same page, and trying to get their buy-in on what was best for their son, and helping him work out his problems, and the importance of their role in giving him plenty of positive reinforcement and tricks of the trade and ways to help him instead of punish him for things he couldn't help. Well, one of the things that Ethan needed to work on and we needed to help him with was his anger, and how he could be quick to explode. And I got some very good suggestions from Isabel, and one of the things I did was try to give him more positive attention, try to take him on drives. He was more open to talking about issues going on in his life in the car. To talk to him about, I realized that he had a quick fuse, and to try and let Ethan know how disruptive that was to others in his life. And sometimes we would just, when he would start to be impatient or be frustrated, I would pull over and we would talk about how that would make others around him feel, and how that wasn't in his best interest. Another thing that was very important was to listen to the things that my grandson was passionate about. And even though they weren't maybe the standard things that other kids were involved in, he was involved in sports quite a bit, but it wasn't his passion. I started taking him to his BMX parks and bringing him together with other friends who had these same passions around very athletic and very risky behavior. And it would calm him down after being riding his bike and all that energy. And I started realizing how important that was to him. And it made him feel validated that he was good at something, and the better he got at that, the more recognition he got from other people in the BMX community, and it was improving his self-esteem. Isabel talked about the 6-to-1 ratio of negativity in somebody with ADHD's life as compared to children who don't have ADHD, and the frustrations that go along with it. Made me realize that Ethan did have a lot of negativity between his parents, his step-parents, his school. And what I did with my grandson then is I tried to call him every night or text him, he's a teenager, and just to let him know that he was loved and that he was special, and that no matter what, I was always there for him, and he could tell me his frustrations, and he did. He started to call me when he would be having a head-to-head session with his mom, and he just wanted somebody to talk to. And it probably took a few months of this, and I was, every night I texted him at nighttime. And I started to see that it might have been making a difference. He was not quite as angry, and he was confiding in me more. And and then, uh, speaking of confiding in me more, then we started taking these long drives to his outings, and he would open up to me about all sorts of things that I never thought he would discuss with me. So the more time and effort I put into validating what a good kid he was, the more I was seeing the results. And thanks to Isabel with her instruction and her caring and her recommendations, I think all that paid off, and after a few months, in a big way. On my part, I started seeing improvements after a few months of my continuous filling up Ethan's love tank. But I had to work on his parents and constantly remind them too, because when you're right there every day, it's easy to forget about the positive reinforcement when you're frustrated and you've had a long day and all of life's frustrations, and on top of that you have a child with ADHD. So I like to think that by learning more about it through Isabel's coaching, that I was able to pass on some of these techniques to my daughter and my grandson's father, and that they were able to incorporate these into how they were working with Ethan. Your children's pediatricians, your children's counselors at school, and your lack of awareness of just what ADHD is not, all these other people don't have the knowledge of an ADHD coach and specialist, and they sometimes may not understand it. So to get the support of a coach, and a coach who will go to bat for your child, your grandchild, and help you work with schools and anybody else involved in the life of a child with ADHD, we need all the support that we can get, and they need all the support. And Isabel is a wealth of support. As a grandparent, now I'm the grandparent of a 15-year-old boy, and oftentimes this is a crazy world. We're all busy. The way of the world is downsizing and putting more on people's plates. It's hard enough to be the parent, a full-time, most homes are 2 full-time working parents. It's very difficult. It's very tiring when you have children who don't have ADHD. And when your child has ADHD, it's even more so. And sometimes, and oftentimes, it's hard for the parents to stop and realize that might be a hard day for you, but it's been a harder day for your child, and you're exhausted. And if you have a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a special person that is a step back from the daily interaction and craziness, who can provide the positive reinforcement and help you in that department, or help you in making life easier for everybody. I just think this is a difficult world, and the more you know about this condition, the more you learn through coaching, can make the whole family's life easier.